I'm surprised I'm making this video, but I'm making this because I want to film this as soon as possible before the feeling truly leaves me, because it is starting to a little bit. But man, by the title, you already know what is happening. The Inheritance Cycle is, wow, I just finished it, and if you don't know what that means, the Inheritance Cycle, that means that is the cycle of the Eragon books. Whether you know that or not, there's nothing wrong with that. It is the cycle of the Eragon books of Eragon, Eldest, Brazinger, and Inheritance. And I just got done finishing it just now. At least the Inheritance Cycle. There's still another book even after Inheritance, so I'm not actually technically done yet. But you would think, why am I making the video now? I'm not even done yet. And I know by the time this comes out, this will not be released on the very night, on the next day of me actually reading and finishing Inheritance, because that's just how I am. I'm always uploading much later than I always intend to. That's just how I do things. I'm always lazy and take longer to upload shit. Man, I spent years reading those books because I was not always consistently reading them as much as I could, because I'm not like my dad where I can always read them. And I always try to, I never try to find time to read. That's the thing. If I always read when I was still working at Walmart. I only read, or even when I very first began the Eragon Cycle, the Inheritance Cycle, was when I was still going to school. I don't know if this was senior year, junior year, or even as far back as sophomore year in high school. I don't know. I think it was probably something like junior year in high school when I finally said I want to tackle this series. I bailed on the Harry Potter series. I started it and then I stopped in the middle of Goblet of Fire. I hate that I did that, and eventually I will go back and start the series over again and finish the Harry Potters once and for all. But the thing with the Harry Potter series, or the Lord of the Rings series, the Hobbit, whatever, the thing that really sticks out with the Eragon Cycle, the Inheritance, I have no idea what happens. Yeah, I know what kind of happens in the Eragon book because there's a movie based off of it. They've actually made a movie. I've watched it, so I kind of get the overall gist what happens. I know who is who, character-wise, whatever. But bro, from Eldest Arn, all the stories from Eldest, Brazinger, and Inheritance, not a single movie has been done on those, so they are truly me learning it for the very first time. It's my first experience. This is truly new to me. All the other book series that my dad has, shut up Josh, trying to make a video here, texting my ass, versus all the other book cycles that my dad has. This is the one book series that I truly don't know what happens in the end, you know? Because they've not made any kind of movies on the Eragon Cycle outside of Eragon. Nothing on Eldest, nothing on Brazinger, and definitely nothing on Inheritance. So I'm truly was learning everything for the first time, and wow, it was an experience. I spent years, handful of years on this cycle, and I get it longer than I should have, but bro, now it's all a tad. I can't say nothing because I'm not done yet. There's still another book that I have to read. And it's the continuation of the Inheritance Cycle. I'm not going to tell you what the title is because it might be a bit of a spoiler if you're still reading the Inheritance or whatever, if you choose to read it, because I am saying go read them. They are truly amazing books. It is very similar to the Lord of the Rings. It has, dwarves, elves, men, and obviously other creatures that Christopher Paolini has created. But it's a time period, it's during the past of medieval times. But it is an incredible piece of work. All 4 books are. And I do highly recommend, if you are a true reader, or even, I guess now these days, audiobook listener, either way, audiobook listeners, or just die-hard readers that love to read the Eragon books. Read the Inheritance Cycle. I'll post a link to the first book. It is, or at least to the title of it or whatever, to the website. It is an amazing story. And we're not even done yet, so that's exciting. That's happy. And he may still continue to keep making more and more branched out versions of this cycle of movies, books. Don't get that twisted. They've not done any movies on them except for the first one. And the first one was a big time failure. I still enjoy it a little bit. It was a failure. It did a fourth of the information on the book, and in the movie, there's a lot of shit they changed, and the only thing that I'll truly will say they did awesome in, or relatively good in, really, was Saphira and how she looked and everything. That was the best part about the movie, was actually seeing the dragon, Saphira. She was the best part of the movie. Other than that, they really struggled with the movie, and man, had they done that right, they could have done the movie series on all of the books. They could have they just done it right. They gotten the right director and right writers. Sad and depressing very minorly, because I'm not even done yet. I still got another entirely different new book I gotta read. But it is a lot. Nope, not saying nothing. Not spoiling it. Just, I highly recommend you read the books. I am truly overwhelmed by the story of the Eragon books. It is amazing. It's true, and I spent so many years reading those 4 books, and now the 4 books are done. That's what's a little sad. I know there's another word that's like the same meaning of melancholy, but just you're already missing it. You're already feeling sad that it's already finished, and you want to keep reading more. And I am reading more. There's more to read, so that's the exciting part about that. But knowing one of these days I'm going to finish that also, and then I am truly going to be finished. And I'll probably make another video on that. It'll probably be like a part 2 to this. But no matter what, I'm making this video now because I am just overwhelmed by the story. And this is the first time I've actually have finished a series of books. Actually finished it from beginning to end. I did half of the Harry Potter books and then I stopped, and I don't understand why I did that. I do plan on definitely going back to that series and starting all over again and finishing all the way till the end. That's all I gotta say about that. I feel very happy right now, and also sad because it's over. Because then I start thinking Star Wars is over, then the MCU is, it's not over, but your favorites. I keep going back to that. Like, there's just nothing to look forward to anymore, except for the next Eragon book. And I guess Mandalorian, that's a great series too. But Star Wars is done. The MCU is going to be changed forever. It'll never be the same again. No more Tony, no more Cap. No more of the OG Avengers. The inheritance cycle is done outside of that last book. So, it's starting to near the end. Yeah, after all these years, I've been reading these books since when I was still in high school. I kind of went off and on reading the books. Like I said, I would read it whenever I'd be on pure downtime. Whether I was working, like I said in the beginning, during school, I would read it during my EB periods. My enrichment blocks would be periods during the day I would have where it wouldn't be a class. It would be a period where you either would do homework or just simply have free time. Or also, I would also read. So that was how I started off reading the books. That would be the only downtime I would ever read. Whenever I got home, I would never read. Because I'd never wanted to find time to read when I was at home. And whenever I was at school, the only times I would read would be during the EB periods. And then when I graduated from high school, then the only times I would ever read would be during my breaks when I was working at Walmart. And then after I got let go from there, then I went that 7-month period when I wasn't unemployed. And I didn't read one single page during that 7 months when I was unemployed. Because like I said, I don't like to find time to read when I'm in my downtime. And I hate that I do that. And I started reading again when I got finally hired on to Big Lots. And I started only reading. I've read every day when I go to work. Because they don't have Wi-Fi. So I can't even get on Wi-Fi even if I wanted to. So I just read every single time. I take my break or my lunch. I just read every single time. But like I said, I was always off and on whenever I'd read. That's why it took me 5 years to finish off just 4 books. But now that I finally finished, it's wow. But I'm not finished yet, so that's a good thing. But I can feel the end is nearing. And it's sad. But that's just my experience. I want you to experience the books. They are amazing. You will be blown away. But you have to be committed when you're reading. You have to really take the story serious. And you have to truly get yourself invested, or else you're not truly enjoying the books of what they're supposed to be. It's a huge commitment, but it's worth it in the end, trust me. You don't even have to buy the books. You can always rent them at a library. Get started on them, and if you truly do love them, then you can buy the books and always have them. Like, these are my dad books. These are books that my dad have. Like, he read them way before I ever did. So he's always like saying, bro, you need to finish them. These are great books to end in. You'll be blown away. He was right. So I recommend read them. Read The Inheritance Cycle. Eragon, Eldest, Brazinger, Inheritance. In the new book that I'm not saying, but you can always search it up on the internet for the entire saga of the Eragon books. Read them. I'll have a link posted down below where you can check them out, and it's worth it. And I love the story, and I look forward to starting this next book. That's all I have to say. So like and subscribe, favorite, and I'll see you in the next video. Great books. Great books.